August 10th, 2020 was definitely a day I will never forget.
I wonder if this is a tornado? I'm not sure what's going on. But whatever it is, it's pretty intense.
We called our neighbor Bridget, who had the tree go through her house, and while we were on the phone with her, her tree went through her house. And that was pretty traumatic for our kids because there was a lot of screaming, there was a lot of broken glass sounding, and nobody knew what was going on. There weren't words to describe what we were visually seeing. All of our neighborhood, all of our local family had attempted to FaceTime us to prepare us, had sent us photos to prepare us. But landing at the airport and taking that drive from the airport to our neighborhood, I have goosebumps right now just thinking back to that moment. As soon as we could, we had some neighbors FaceTime us so that we could see their faces and make sure that they were all okay and reassure our kids that they were all okay. I think we want to show our kids that the way that you get through life is by leaning on other people and by helping other people. Thank goodness for our Blackstone. We had gotten our Blackstone at the height of coronavirus, which is, for people who don't know, it is just a griddle top. So it's like a grill, runs on propane, but it's a griddle top. Thankfully, on the griddle, we can basically cook whatever. So that's what we started doing. We started kind of coming up with some fun recipes and some different things that people couldn't eat at home but wanted to, like pizza, grilled cheese sandwiches. We would always invite the linemen in the neighborhood, the city workers in the neighborhood. So we have pictures of the linemen enjoying breakfast burritos out. The construction crews that were helping with debris, we'd feed all of them. So sometimes it was upwards of 50 or 60 people a day, just kind of depended on who was in the neighborhood and who needed some help and wanted some good food. Not only did we survive, we thrived. We leaned on each other. We took all of the strengths that each other had and we used them to the good of our community. And we're still doing that. When the Derecho happened and we agreed to feed the neighborhood for a few days, we didn't know what we were in for. We didn't think a year later it would be such a blessing to us all.
It took much more than just Alliant Energy to restore power for our customers. We worked really closely with other utilities, for example, ITC Midwest. The transmission system was heavily impacted as well, and we had to follow in the footsteps of the transmission system. So continuing that strong partnership with ITC is absolutely critical. We had thousands of additional line workers and tree personnel in this city working to restore power for our customers.
Yep, our work days following the Derecho were typically 16 to 18-hour days for 10 to 12 days afterwards. This family that was stranded, wires were down all on both sides of the vehicle. They were able to roll their windows down and communicate with me. And then as soon as we found out that the power lines were not energized, everybody was okay and safely got them out of the vehicle and found them transportation to their destination. So I basically walked up and down that highway for a few hours, doing the same thing multiple times, checking on the vehicles and making sure everybody was safe and out of their vehicles. To make sure nobody was trapped before night.
In 2003, when we moved into the house, this was the very first tree that we ever planted. But it was an ash tree. You know, we'd been doing anything and everything to keep it going through the wild ash borer and everything that had been flying around Lynn County. this and miss the house by the grace of God. Of course, my husband's like, let's just cut it down, we can plant a new one. I didn't want to. My gut was telling me that I needed to do something different. And so after a lot of thought and prayer, I'd come across on one of the Derecho Facebook pages of a gentleman out of Mount Vernon who did tree carvings. So I contacted him. He got to the project in September. There's not a lot of people that, are willing to drop what they're doing to come help rebuild things or cut things down so they can get access to driveways and doorways. The blessing in all of it was that everybody from outside of the city in all different states had come in to help.
Coming out of the Derecho, every circuit that was heavily impacted was looked at again. We put eyes on everything after the initial restoration activity took place. Just to make sure that the system was really sound and reliable. And as we've moved through some recent storm activity, we've been really proud at how well that system continues to perform. So well that we are seeing minimal outages as we see storms pass through now.